I think I literally need to go to therapy. My thought process was so messed up.
Yes.
And I remember I texted Greg Doucette. We chat about stuff. And he was like,
Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over Jesse James West, Anthony Mettello, and Coach Kyle talking about everything related to bodybuilding, dieting, natural status, what do steroids do, what's it like to be a YouTuber, everything. And so stay tuned. Let's get right into it.
I am fiddling with the idea. I low-key want to do an Ironman.
And so Jesse James toying with the idea of doing an Ironman. Now listen. That is ridiculous. You don't go into a sport after being a bodybuilder and take on one of the most challenging endurance sports imaginable. You begin with a triathlon. He doesn't even know how to swim properly. I used to compete in triathlons, did so beginning at the age of 13, and I can tell you it's absolutely amazing. The dopamine release, the feelings you get, very similar, if not the same, as when you're a bodybuilder or perhaps a powerlifter. You go out for a run, you improve your times, you swim faster than last time. You bike and you continue to get faster and you keep improving, and it's amazing to improve your cardiovascular fitness. And I'm going to argue that training for a triathlon far healthier than training for a bodybuilding competition. And yeah, you're going to suffer. Hour after hour on the bike, run, swim, you're going to be sore, but remember this, you're allowed to eat. You can eat what you want. You don't have to try to maintain 5% body fat to do a triathlon. And so if you're asking me which is harder, I've done them both. By far, bodybuilding, much harder. Far harder than doing triathlons. I've done them for years and I've done both. And my suggestion to Jesse, I think he should give it a try, but I think he should start with a triathlon. I don't think his first taste of endurance should be swimming multiple miles, biking 180 kilometers, and running 26 miles back to back. For the average competitor, their first time going to take close to 15 hours. Do you really need to go that far? You can get all the joys of doing an Ironman and doing a triathlon. Much simpler. Perhaps you swim 1.5 kilometers, bike 40 kilometers, run 10. Much more realistic, likely do it under 3 hours, still have to do all the same types of training, and so I highly recommend it.
I have nothing really I'm training for necessarily, and knowing that I'm a natty, I'm like, okay, I can only gain so much more size, like a few pounds maybe. So I'm like, what's the next challenge that I can find?
So Jesse brings up an excellent point. Once you've put on the muscle, Jesse already has an amazing physique. He's in his 20s. He's not going to gain 5 or 10 pounds of muscle each and every year. He no longer has newbie gains and he's not taking steroids. And so the gains, they come very slow, perhaps 2 or 3 pounds of muscle a year. And so he's having a hard time thinking, wow, I have to train several years just to make a noticeable difference. In comparison, if he were to train for a triathlon, he's going to see those newbie gains. He's going to get so much faster. And so imagine, I did bodybuilding and powerlifting my entire life. I've since stopped these competitions, but I'm still chasing the dopamine. I still want to have a goal. Jesse James talks about how difficult it is after the show. He doesn't really know what to shoot for. He's still training hard, but it's not the same without a goal. For me, I'm racing bikes, trying to get my watts higher than last time, trying to win races. Even have a team. We're team harder than last time. We got 6 of us racing against all the other teams. So we have camaraderie. We're a team. We're trying to help each other win. So it's fun. And so I highly encourage not only Jesse James, but anyone watching this, take up doing cardio. Make it a competition. You're thinking cardio is boring. Try racing bikes. Try getting faster. Try to progressive overload your cardio. Have a goal to be twice as fast as perhaps you were right now in 2 years from now. You can do it. You can improve.
What's the next challenge that I can find that's like not gonna be dieting? And that would probably be like a marathon and triathlon.
Absolutely, Jesse James West, you should get into doing triathlons. And as a side note, if you get into doing triathlons, absolutely should be taking GO2 Max. Imagine if Jesse James were part of Coach Greg's team promoting GO2 Max to the world. Imagine how many people could benefit. Double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies showed just how effective this really is. And it's not just couch potatoes, it's also inexperienced runners, people running faster than last time. Don't just take my word for it. Please read the research. You can watch the Joe Rogan podcast. You can watch Andrew Huberman and others speak about the benefits of NMN. NMN being the main ingredient in GO2 Max. Of course, there's other ingredients to make it even better. Please, if you're interested in GO2 Max, my #1 supplement, especially if you like doing cardio, especially if you care about your health, if your heart is the most important muscle to you, please use code Greg. Click the link in the description, 10% off. And yes, we do sell them in bulk. Save more money than last time.
It would take a ton of like deep thought on what I want to do. do and like how I want to take it. Or maybe it's a smaller series, you know, maybe I'm training a ton, but I only filmed the last week and the race day. I'm sure the race day would get like 2 mil. Easy.
And so one video in the series is going to be Jesse James versus Coach Greg in a Zwift bike race. See who can be faster than last time. Is 48-year-old Coach Greg going to outdo Jesse James?
You know what I think is really important to talk about is like eating disorders post-show. Bro.
And so disordered eating post-show, it has to be talked about. This is so prevalent. Minimum of 25% of people involved in sports with weight classes, people have disordered eating. And so imagine you're starving yourself, trying to get to 7% body fat. Suddenly the show is over. You can now eat whatever you want. Anthony Mitella gained over 25 pounds in a matter of few days after his first competition as a teenager. Very difficult. Jesse explains in detail just how hard it is to go from eating on a diet to eating normal, and everyone goes through this. Even myself, I've done 59 competitions. Every show is a difficult one to go from being on that strict of a diet, that regimented, to going back to regular eating.
I most definitely was almost like confused about food because I'm used to an exact meal plan, exact measurements, and going to like an estimated measurement feels weird.
Even going from measuring all your food to just eating regular, normal, not weighing out everything you're eating. I don't measure my food. I don't weigh it. I guess at my calories. But when I'm on a diet, when I'm on prep, I need to know exactly what I'm eating. And so once the show is over and you don't put the food on the scale, you're thinking, this is weird. And so some people, they can handle it. They also end the competition and they go on a bulk. They watch their physique literally transform in front of their eyes. They're no longer happy with the reflection in the mirror. They develop body dysmorphia. In Southern, their social media account is flooded with photos of how they used to look. People are saying, wow, what happened to you? Where's your abs? It's not good. You then go on another diet. And so disordered eating practices very, very common. And so if anyone is going to compete, please, I caution you, only compete in this if you have very strong self-esteem and understand that following a competition, things are going to be weird for a little bit, but you need to get used to it.
Your first and second show, I feel like you're going to be like, oh, food, do I eat it? Oh, shit, I binged. Like, I feel like you're bound to have one issue unless you're just perfect, but I feel like that's like almost impossible.
And trust me, I was not perfect. As many imaginable problems as you can imagine. The first several shows especially, I can relate to all of this, and I've done 59 shows. I can remember the first 5 to 9. Way different. I now have balance, but trust me, when I was in my earlier days, very difficult. The struggle is real, and so I know exactly what it's like, and that's why I caution you, if you are competed, please have balance.
So at first I struggled. It was like a week of I think I literally need to go to therapy. My thought process was so messed up.
Yes.
Mentally, I'm like spinning.
And so Jesse James describes the first week following his competition that he felt he almost needed to go to therapy. He didn't know what to do. His thought process was messed up. I was talking about this. I often tell people the diet really starts the day following the competition. You think you're dieting until the show, but once the show is over and you no longer have to set foot on that stage, you have no reason to get shredded, that is when it's truly difficult. That is when you'll really find out, wow, what have I done? And so please be careful. Once you've done the show, don't just say, yeah, now I eat whatever I want. People oftentimes will hoard food after the show. They have all the candies, chocolates, bulk barn, so many candies. They're ready to eat everything. That is a huge mistake. You are setting yourself up for failure. If you plan to binge following the show, it's all downhill from there.
And I remember I texted Greg Doucette. We chat about stuff, and he's like, the real diet for a show starts after your show. To not
cookbooks
and just go berserk.
Exactly. It's so important that you watch this information. Highly recommend you go and watch the entirety of the original podcast. So many important topics are touched on this. Trust me, the month after a show, that is a make or break it point. Many people, they can gain all the weight they lost on a 4-month diet during the first month. You gain all the weight, you look in the mirror, you feel fat, you're not happy with your body, you now have body dysmorphia, you're now crash dieting again, the vicious cycle continues. Perhaps you're using performance enhancing drugs, you're using fat burners and so on, you're abusing those, you can't stop, and years later you have so many regrets. I've seen it time and time again. That's why I caution you so much. If you're doing these competitions, please be careful.
In my head, I'll rationalize, okay, 2 weeks, eat whatever, eat a lot. But then also there was a point where I was like, but then that's unhealthy. But then I also need to eat because I need to get my testosterone back. I need to get my hormones back.
Yep.
And so Jesse James is explaining what he's going through. Remember, the first several shows, this is going to happen to almost anyone. You have to expect the unexpected. You don't know just how difficult it's going to be. Even his girlfriend Claudia was saying, Jesse, this is a problem. You have to be careful.
So I remember I was laying in bed with Claudia, and she's like, you genuinely like need to either see someone or like get control of this because like you're spinning in circles.
And so almost every single person that competes in bodybuilding exhibits disordered eating behavior. Perhaps it's not an ED, and I'm not talking about the downstairs, but if you are having struggles with the downstairs, we do have harder than last time for exactly that. You're not eating enough, you're struggling, perhaps you're taking performance enhancing drugs, now you stop. You need something to give you that boost. Consider harder than last time. Click the link in description. Code Greg, 10% off.
You can't be looking at food as good and bad. She's like, you got to start looking at it as like, this is healthy and unhealthy, and stop telling yourself like, I'm bad for eating this bad food, and just be like, that was unhealthy. I need to eat a healthier version, not limitations of the amount, but healthier versions, more nutrient dense, whole foods.
And so I'm telling you, if you haven't got this by now, 59 bodybuilding competitions. I know what it's like to have to binge after the show, to diet, to be starving, to struggle. If you get my freaking cookbook, any of them, the most recent Cookbook 3.0 comes in the hard copy and the PDF. This can make a world of difference. It can literally save you from having disordered eating. You're used to eating all those foods that you enjoy, but if you make them from the book, perhaps they have half the calories. And as you know, calories in, calories out. And so if you're eating foods that are lower in calories, you're going to be full, you're going to be satiated, you're not going to need to continue to binge. And so this book can save you. If you're a bodybuilder, or even if you're not, you're struggling to lose weight, consider getting Cookbook 3.0, code Greg, 10% off.
Yeah, like where you're at in life right now. Like me, I would tell you my life, I love my life. Like truly,
Suburban.
every part of it, like real life is
Cookbooks.
great.
Suburban dual income household.
Dude, it's insane.
And so they asked Jesse, are you happy in life? Are you happy with what you've accomplished? He says, absolutely, the happiest he's ever been. I 100% can relate to this. I look at my house or cars, which some people are mad at me for talking about, but I can't believe I was able to accomplish this. Literally 100 times more successful than I ever dreamed possible. But if you're always thinking this is not enough, you're never going to be happy. And so myself personally, I'm happy with everything, but I'm not going to retire. I have passion for what I do. I love what I do. If you can't tell, why do you think I make so many videos? 3,000 videos. Yet, do you see me stopping, posting 2 videos a day? I do it because I love it. Not because I need the money. Got plenty of money. Although I love to make money, of course I do. There's nothing wrong with that. LeBron James continues to play basketball even though he's rich. He likes basketball, he likes making money. Why can't I do both?
I'm very grateful for everything I have, and I try to remind myself that there's real life outside of social media, and I think that's like 2023 Jesse has learned. No offense to social media, but like real life matters way
Cookbooks.
more.
And so what matters is what happens in the real world. You may have some toxic comments from people I've never met, in countries I'll never visit. How does it matter? It doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
What matters is what do my friends, my family think. And let me tell you, everyone is happier than last time. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Don't forget to watch one of the bloops. Of course, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, and the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. And until next time, I am out.